How are you doing? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world. And what we're going to go into is one of our Laws of Game series, and we're going to kind of talk about something that's going to be current event related. But I really want to address a big opportunity. So it's a problem that we can definitely turn into an opportunity if approached the right way. And so the title of this particular video / audio is, will Black conservatives create solutions or just protest the problem? And what we want to talk about is that we have a group of Black conservatives that are very prominent in media. They're very prominent in the social media space. And we're now into this era of this Biden-Kamala Harris administration. And what we're going to address in this video is that what is going to be their approach to dealing with this administration? Is it going to be to create solutions, or is it going to be to just protest the problem? So if you're listening to it, that's what we're going to be talking about. And then we also have our own solution to this particular situation, because we think that we have a solution that can address a greater opportunity, right? That can be beneficial to a large amount of people outside of just the small group of people that are going to be involved in this discussion. So what we want to ask is that, will the next 4 years be spent protesting the Biden-Harris administration or creating programs? And what we're currently seeing already is that a lot of the prominent conservatives on social media, they're talking about the social media bans. They're getting ready to start talking about any kind of policy or executive orders that Biden pushes through. That's going to be their topic. And what they're not going to be doing is, and the question is that, are they going to just now make their platforms just protest platforms? Because we saw this when Obama did his 8 years as president. A lot of the conservative media was just protest media. But we didn't have this group of Black conservatives during the Obama era that we have now, right? Because a lot of them came out because they piggybacked and they kind of rode the coattails of Trump into the White House. So now that we have this group of prominent, from a social media standpoint, of Black conservatives, are they going to now just say, well, we're going to just produce protest content or oppositional content for the next 4 years, right? The opposition to anything that Biden and Harris or Nancy Pelosi or any kind of national level Democratic politician does. And the reason why I wanted to examine this is because that when Trump was in office, I remember telling one of my relatives that the Democrats were not really proposing any policy. They were just doing opposition to Trump. So you had a lot of prominent Democratic politicians, and they were just talking about how they wanted to impeach Trump and get Trump out of office. But my question was, well, what is a policy that is going to help the people that voted Democrats into the Senate and voted Democrats into the House of Representatives? Where's the policy? Because you telling me that they voted for you just so you could try to figure out how to get rid of Trump. That really didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I explained that these people aren't talking about policy. They're just talking about getting rid of Trump. Well, if I have a specific economic situation or political situation, it existed before Trump came into office. Let's just be very realistic. It's not a promotion of Trump. These situations existed before Trump came into office. So if Trump leaves office, these situations are not going to change because they existed before he got in. So what we're seeing now is a reverse of that. We're seeing the mirror of that, to where what is going to be the conversation now from the Black conservatives? What is going to be the conversation? It's just going to be that we're against Biden and Harris and everything that they do, or we actually have solutions that we have created as a group to solve the problems of poor and working class Black people. So the questions I want to have for this Black conservative group: when you get tired of talking about the social media bans and how you're trying to create a lawsuit against the social media platforms, which is really a fool's errand, because if you don't like the social media platforms, just leave the platform. That's the solution to the problem. But now your vision of what is going to, I guess, move the needle in a political area is that we're going to create these arguments against the banning of social media and the censorship of social media. And it's going to be the same argument. If I'm a poor and working class Black person and I'm in a city that is being controlled by Democrats and it's been mismanaged by Democrats the past 30 or 40 years. Okay, that's the reality that I'm living in. And you're a Black conservative, and you're telling me that the reason for my problem is because I live in an area that has been under Democratic control for a long period of time. Right? Your campaign is to advocate against social media censorship. But if you're successful, I'm still in the same situation that I was in before you started this social media anti-censorship campaign. So my question is, what is your real solution? So for black conservatives, especially the ones that are prominent in social media, the ones that pretty much piggyback Trump, ones that told black people that they was on a Democratic plantation, the ones that tell black people that they are being misled by Black Lives Matter, these black conservatives, right? My question to them is, first, what is the economic program that you're proposing? Don't say the platinum plan because that's their program. What is your program? What's the health program? What's the program for health? What's the educational program to make sure that children are educated properly and they're turned into fully functioning adults so they can go into society and be productive members of society with job skills that are transferable to the real world? What's a political education program so these people will not continue to be taken advantage of politically so they can get off the Democratic plantation because they have a political education in which they understand how to really vote and advocate for their best interest? So when are you going to roll out these programs that you and your group have created? Or are we just going to talk about social media censorship or the president signed this executive order and this is why you should be outraged about it? Okay. So is the objective to just tell black people that they're dumb to vote Democrat? Or is there some type of objective to create solutions to the problems of black people that you say are trapped in these democratic situations? What is the solutions that you're proposing outside of replacing Democratic politicians, right, with Republican politicians? Do you actually have programs to serve the needs of these particular people? And we want to talk about, again, don't talk about opportunity zones because that's their program. Don't talk about platinum plans because that's their program. My question is, what is your plan? So if I am a black conservative and I'm aligned with these other black conservatives, you telling me all y'all together can't come up with a plan? And so I think that's the real issue. Is that where is your plan from a solution-based standpoint that's going to solve the needs of this group of people that you claiming that you want to bring over to a better situation? Where's your plan? And that's the question I want to ask. Because if you spend the next 4 years just talking about Biden and Harris and what they're not doing or how you're outraged about what they're doing and this, that, and the third, you know what's going to happen when the 4 years is over? The people that you are claiming that you're trying to help and reach out to are going to be in the exact same situation. So my question is, what is your plan? And one of the critiques I have of black conservatives is that for many of them, black conservatism is an integrationist movement. And I'm not against integrationalists on principle. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. But for many of them, it's an integrationist movement. And if you look at their actual personal life, they've lived the life and they've sought out the life of just being an integrationalist. And I'm not criticizing them for being an integrationalist. What I'm criticizing them for is that is really what they're proposing. I was telling somebody a story because today is a day in which the brother Hank Aaron passed away. And I was telling somebody when I lived in Atlanta, I was working with a guy, we were doing luxury real estate. And we went in DeKalb County where Hank Aaron's home was. And Hank Aaron pretty much lived in a primarily black part of Atlanta in DeKalb County. So not really Atlanta because it's really DeKalb County, but it's Atlanta Metro. And on his block that he lived on was other homes. Approximately value was probably in north of $1 million. He lived in a really big house. He lived on a block full of nothing but mansion homes. Everybody that lived on that block was also black. He lived in a black area. There's this lie on going around from a lot of people that haven't had exposure. A lot of them have never really been outside of their area, to be very truthful with you, is that if you're black and you're successful, the only way that you can enjoy your success is to live around non-black people. That's incorrect. We live in a country that is enormous. There's multiple places that you can go as a black person and live very well among other black people. The problem is many of y'all can't afford to live with those people. That's the reality. Many of you can't afford to live in certain parts of Atlanta where black people are living amongst themselves and they really getting that real bag. You can't afford to live there. Many of you can't afford to live in certain parts of Maryland around black people that's doing very well for themselves and they really get into that bag and they're very professional and they're very educated and they know how to compose themselves. A lot of y'all can't afford to live there. That's a reality. There's areas of Texas where black people really doing really well for themselves and they're really getting that bag. A lot of y'all can't afford to live there. And then also a lot of y'all are not going to be comfortable living there, right? Because the reason why you're doing what you're doing is because really you have a desire to integrate into another group of people. And you might as well just come out on the front and just say that's what your true desire is. Just say that. Then we can deal with things on that level, right? But that's really what your true desire is. But getting back to the point, because there's this narrative that if you're successful as a black person, we can't work to deal. We can't work with other black people and we can't be around other black people because they're going to be jealous of your success. Let me tell y'all something, man, especially if you move to Atlanta. These people that are on the internet that are saying this, they don't really have it like that. They just big on the internet, right? They don't really have it like that for somebody to really be jealous of them. Now, let me explain something to you. If you got $100,000 and you around a bunch of people that make $25,000 a year, you got a lot of money, right? But there are people to where they doing $100,000 every month and they black. So you don't really have nothing to them that they would want to hate on you or be jealous of you for. But if your exposure is only limited to a really, really small group of people, and then you go move around another group of people, and you've never really seen truly successful people that look like members of your family, then you'll have this perception that success is getting away from people that look like members of my family. But they're here. We live in a country that is enormous. There's areas of this country, also that Cascade area of Atlanta, if you know what to look for around that community center on that west side, that if you can't put $1.5 million, $2 million for a home, you can't even live over there. You can't even, it's not even something that you can even consider. There are no apartments that you can live over there for a lower cost. If you can't put $1.5 million, $2 million down for a crib, you can't even live over there around these kind of people. It's very, very exclusive. And it's all black people. So we got to get rid of this narrative that there's this correlation between, right, being successful as a black person and getting away from black people. Many of you can afford to live around successful black people. You can afford to live around working class Anglo-Saxons, and you just prefer to live around working class Anglo-Saxons than living around the working class black people. But I don't want to get off the point. So what we're going to do for the next however long we can do it is we're going to continue to question black conservatives, whether through social media, Twitter, about what is a program? What is a plan? Right? Because I'm gonna be real with you. I've been networking really, really hard the past 6-7 years since I moved to the A. Tried to do it in Tampa, it didn't work. I was around the wrong group of people. Moved to the A, started networking really, really hard because I'm very, very much pro-black economic sustainability, pro-black business, very much pro these things. I really believe that we have to have some type of economic stability to be effective in this society called America. One of the reasons why we're so ineffective, not as a national group, but just localized, is because we deal with a lot of economic instability. So it makes us ineffective in a lot of different areas because we always worry about where our money's coming from. Right? So I'm a big fan of that. Spent a lot of time in the Atlanta area doing a lot of networking, did a lot of networking with people on social media. I got a Rolodex of really heavy people, right? That can help in all different areas to improve the lives of black people, whether it be real estate, the stock market, cryptocurrency, health, nutrition. Know a sister down in Atlanta, she's a doula, organic farming, right? Psychological health, mental health. I got a Rolodex of heavy people, right? Heavy people. Know a sister, she's a PhD. She tries to help other PhDs monetize their content. Got a Rolodex full of heavy black people that care about other black people. They're great at what they do, right? And I can link you people, you black conservatives that say you care about black people, that need to build programs for black people. I can link you to these folks. I'm not even finna try to stand in the middle and try to get an arbitrage fee. I'm not even doing that for that. If I don't have something that can solve your problem, I got a gang of people that I can get on the horn or reach out to, and they can solve the problem. Because I've done that much networking and I've done that much resourcing, right? So I know people that can help solve the problems, and they're going out on a regular basis, and they have been, since Obama, some of them before that, been working to try to solve the problems of black people on the grassroots level, person to person, especially before all this COVID stuff came out. So the question is, are you going to spend the next 4 years just creating oppositional media, or trying to go against these multi-billion-dollar social media platforms that you can't win against, because the solution to the problem is to get off their social media? Then you got to worry about it, right? But is that going to be your new platform now, or your new initiative? Is that we're going to sit here and talk about Facebook and YouTube and yada, 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 and what they're doing that we don't like, instead of trying to create solutions for the people that you claim are on the Democratic plantation? So my question is, are you solution based or are you problem based? What's the solution? And then what are the actual initiatives that you have to support the solution? Because if I'm a working class black person and I've been disenfranchised by the Democratic Party, right? How does my life improve by voting Republican? What's the improvement? And you need to be able to communicate that. So this is what black conservatism needs to be. It needs to be solution based. And then we need to really see who's really about this, the solution, as opposed to how can I build the biggest audience on social media with a lot of people that don't even look like the people that I claim I'm representing? Or how can I get to speaking engagements at the colleges, which is not a solution to black people, because you got a speaking engagement, but how does that solve their problem? So then how do we create solutions for the people that we claim we want to help? Or is it just about us getting a benefit for being a black voice for a particular issue? So what we're going to do the next 4 years, as long as we can, through Twitter, probably not Facebook, but through YouTube, is asking these black conservatives, what's the program? So if you're listening to this and you know any of these people, or you're familiar with these people because you're a fan of their content, because you think they're saying something profound, the question I have is, what's the program? What's the solution? What have they come up as a group of people? What have they come up? What initiatives? What steps do they need to take, or do we need to take to improve our lives based on what they think we should be doing? Right? And then if these people can't come up with that, do you need to ask yourself, well, what are they really here for? So that's going to be my challenge to them. Because what I don't want to see is the next 4 years, right? And poor and working class black people are caught in the middle of this. And then when this 4 years is over, it's just the same scenario over and over again, which is what inspires me to do. I'm here to bring solutions. I got programs. I have initiatives. Right. And I don't even have $1 million behind my name to do this stuff. I'm just doing this off the muscle because that's how much I believe in it. And I respect everybody else that believes in the same thing. I may not necessarily 100% agree with everything that you do, but I respect what you out here doing. So I'm here to tell you, we're going to keep asking the same question to these people over and over again, because we have to stop letting people come to us and lie to our face and tell us that they care about us, but they just lying to us for their own personal benefit, right? And we just going for it. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. If you know somebody can get value from it, share it out. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you later.